Listening to the presser earlier today from John Harbaugh, I go into these things with very, very low expectations because, I mean, what is he really going to say that's going to make a significant difference at this point? Unless some real changes are actually made, then it's just lip service right now. And some things that he said did stick out to me, but not in a good way. And we're going to talk about all that as we share our post-game thoughts from this game that the Baltimore Ravens just absolutely got destroyed in by the Houston Texans. The final score being 44-10. That's a massacre. They broke so many records yesterday. They continue to break records. And you know what? We'll start with the side of the ball that has been breaking all these records, that being this defense. My goodness, they could not stop anything. The first punt and I think the only punt from the Houston Texans, it didn't come until like late in the fourth quarter. The Houston Texans continued to show that not only them, but nobody, the Chiefs definitely showed it last week too, but nobody respects this Ravens defense. Nobody does. And they showed it in so many different ways. Going forward on the fourth downs, they went for, and they got it, of course. They converted, of course. But even when, I think it's a rookie, I forget his name, my apologies, but a rookie wide receiver for the Texans, he scored a touchdown. His first touchdown in his career. And a rookie, you would think, okay, a veteran that been in the game, maybe a veteran that done went against the Ravens a couple times in his career, they would do it. But a rookie, so his very first time playing at M&T Bank Stadium, that's what made it even worse. He scored a touchdown and hit the Ray Lewis dance right there at M&T Bank Stadium in front of the Ravens on their defense. I said, oh my, that boy had no respect for the Ravens, but nobody does. But when you watch the Baltimore Ravens defense play, it seemed like they ain't even got respect for their own selves. It's so bad. It's all kinds of bad. But then, shout out to Jair Alexander, because this dude been a Raven for a couple of months. This was only his second game as a Baltimore Raven. And this man showed more heart than anybody on the team. Because he went and tried to rip the ball away from that receiver. But that receiver, he said, nah, I'm keeping this. And he even took a picture of it today and said, hey, I still got the ball. So even way after the game, we still getting disrespected by Texans offense. But anyway, they just had their way with the Baltimore Ravens defense. They certainly did all game long. When you look at some of these numbers, and it's funny because C.J. Stroud, he had his second best game ever yesterday. His second best game ever in his career yesterday. C.J. Stroud went 23 for 27, 244 yards, and 4 touchdowns. 4 of them. 4 touchdowns. No interceptions. Oh, he got sacked 2 times for 17 yards, but 4 touchdowns. And it's funny because he only had 4 incompletions. I know for sure that 2 of them were drops. I know one was an overthrow. I know there were 2 drops, and I forgot what the third one was. But it was crazy. I said, oh my goodness. And then what made it worse? The Texans, they were up big. I think it was early in the fourth quarter. Maybe it was middle of the fourth quarter, but they were up big. The game was pretty much over. They brought in backup quarterback Davis Mills. Backup quarterback. Game's over. It's fourth quarter. They up big. Ravens ain't coming back. Davis Mills was still throwing the ball. Still throwing the ball against this Baltimore Ravens defense. Boy, the disrespect, man. The disrespect. They don't care about no Ravens defense. Marlon Humphrey talked about it early this offseason. He said, man, teams used to fear this Ravens defense. I don't feel like that's been the case recently. You're right. You're a very smart man right there. You are, Marlon Humphrey. You are 1,000,000% correct. They don't. Nobody does. But the Baltimore Ravens defense hasn't given them reason to. And you can't even say, oh, well, it's because Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Chidobe Awuzie, Nnamdi Madubuike, all them boys were out. No, because even when all them boys were in, it was the same exact thing. This defense has no pass rush. This defense, they really don't have an identity at all. They don't stop the run. They don't stop the pass. They don't get off the field on third down. They're not causing turnovers. Their identity is just to get right defense. Your quarterback struggling? You guys struggling to score points? Oh, wait till you got the Baltimore Ravens on your schedule. Then you'll be A-OK. You'll have a resurgence in your season. You could have a resurgence in your career. Then Baltimore Ravens, they will bring your offense back to life. Just wait till you see that purple bird on your schedule, and you're going to be A-OK. And that's a shame. It's a shame to get whooped like the Baltimore Ravens got whooped, but for it to even happen at your crib, at your house, in front of your home fans, that makes it a million times worse. The Baltimore Ravens defense, they showed no heart, they showed no effort, there was no fire, and we talked about all this stuff yesterday, but that's what this team has been. That's why I do feel like, hey, it's time, man. John Harbaugh, thank you for everything. We love you, but it's time, man. And it's like, cause what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Like with Zach Orr, with the Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh talked about it today, and it scares me because, actually, it doesn't scare me because I guess the Ravens are just like, whatever. They just like, it is what it is. Because he said that the defense, now they're gonna be immensely relying on Chuck Pagano. So I'm like, okay, you brought in Chuck Pagano to help with the secondary and whatnot, to really help with the overall defense, but you brought him in as a secondary assistant coach, something like that. I forgot what his exact title is, but you brought him in to help with the defense. All right, cool. But then John Harbaugh also talked about today in the presser, we had a conversation with Dean Pease too. What? Dean Pease? And I know they brought him in last season, but at the same time, again, when you look at the teams that the Ravens were going up against, when the defense turned it around, they were not the best teams in the world. They were much lesser teams, as a matter of fact. So that whole defense turnaround from last year, it's not as real as we would hope that it was. I was fooled last year. I didn't even realize. I really thought, hey, man, that Ravens defense, they done benched Marcus Williams. They cut Eddie Jackson. They benched Trenton Simpson. Man. Yeah, they really did turn it around. And they did make some improvement, but still, the improvements were not as significant as we thought that they were. It was fool's gold. And that certainly has showed this year. And it showed last year, too. But for Dean Pease, if you're relying on Dean Pease, remember when Dean Pease was defensive coordinator here before. Oof. You talk about bend but don't break, and that's literally what he said. But they bent all the way back. You talking about guys playing 10 yards off the receivers like they've been doing now? Oh, boy. But Harbaugh, in his press conference, Harbaugh did talk about how they are looking at everything. He was asked about any potential changes with personnel, with the coaching staff. He said, we're looking at all of that. All of it. So, okay. Looking at it. Will anything happen? We'll see. Because, again, like I said earlier, it's just lip service at this point. But the defense just continues to be all kinds of bad. Missed tackles feel like they're at an all-time high. The points that have been given up, they are breaking records with that. Look at the run defense. C.J. Stroud and really all of them, Nick Chubb, all of them, 33 carries for 167 yards. They averaged 5.1 yards per carry. Only got one touchdown. So that's a positive, right? They only got into the end zone one time as runners, but you remember them other 4 times, right? All them passing touchdowns that C.J. Stroud got. Nico Collins in this game, unguardable, I guess. He only had 4 catches, but it seemed like he just could not be stopped. When that ball went to number 12's way, he was catching everything. Dalton Schultz, another baller. He was nice. Christian Kirk, that's who number 13 was for. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize that was Christian Kirk. I remember him from the Cardinals and from the Jaguars a little bit. Did not realize he was on the Houston Texans. Shout out to that guy, though. Dalton Schultz went 5 for 60. Jaden Higgins, rookie, went 4 for 32. But Jalen Noel, that was the one who caught that touchdown. He went 2 for 13. Obviously, one of them being a touchdown pass, and him just doing his Ray Lewis stance. But again, this Ravens defense, what can you say? What's left to say about them? They can't get any worse. They can just either continue being as bad as they are, or they can climb up from here. But there's no getting lower than last. On offense, I did have higher hopes than most for this Baltimore Ravens offense. Not that I thought they were going to score like 50 points or anything like that, but I thought at least maybe 23, 24 points, something like that. Probably not over 30. You got a backup quarterback, but at the same time, I'm like, hold up. Yeah, we got Cooper Rush. He's 9-5 as a starter. He got experience, so okay. And we still got Derrick Henry. We got Keith Mitchell active. Hello, hey, what's going on? Justice Hill still there. We got DeAndre Hopkins, Flowers, Shaw Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. I'm like, we got some guys in the mix. Oh, yeah, Cooper Rush. Hey, you got some weapons, don't you? And that first drive, he was looking good. He was looking good. They were trying to establish the run game. And now I see with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had 15 carries for 33 yards, and some of them came when the game was already over. But I will say, Texans completely erased Derrick Henry in the game. The Ravens were trying. So I got no fault with, I ain't got no issue with the carries that Derrick Henry received and the amount of carries that he received because the Ravens were trying. And that game got out of hand so fast. But they were trying. So I give them that. Got no problem with the play calling with Derrick Henry. No problem with the usage of Derrick Henry because they were really giving it their all, but it just was not working at all. So shout out to the Texans defense for that. But back to Cooper Rush. 3 interceptions. But this is where it's important not to just look at the box score, but to actually watch the game. One of the interceptions, all on him. The other two, no. One of the interceptions, he threw a late pass. I think it was to Derrick Henry, and I forgot which player jumped it, but it was just a late throw in the flats to Derrick Henry. That's on Cooper Rush. Other pass was to Mark Andrews. It was a little bit low, but still, it was a ball Mark Andrews could have caught, a ball that he's caught plenty of times before. And I get it, drops happen, but this wasn't a drop. This was a bobble. Mark Andrews, he bobbled the ball. Obviously, he's trying to catch it, but he bobbled it, and instead of bobbling it and dropping it, he bobbled it up. And then the Texans said, "Oh, a gift for us? Yeah, thank you, Mark. We appreciate you." Whoop, and they took it. They stole that ball. So that was one of the interceptions. And then the third interception was where Cooper Rush dropped back. Rashad Bateman went deep, and it was late in the game, but threw the deep ball to Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman just stopped running. He stopped. He pulled up on a route. And John Harbaugh was asked about that in the presser. And he was like, "Oh, what did you think about the third interception that Cooper Rush threw to Rashad Bateman on a ball intended for Rashad Bateman late in the fourth quarter? What did you see on that route?" John Harbaugh said, "What did you see? You tell me what you saw." I said, "Okay, Jalen Ramsey or Jalen Harbaugh." But anyway, the reporter, he said, "Well, I saw Rashad Bateman pull up on the route. It looked like he stopped running." And John Harbaugh was like, "Yeah, that's what I saw too." But he was like, "Oh, yeah, I talked to him about that. He can't do that, or something like that." But I said, "Okay, Harbaugh, you actually calling some stuff out. Okay, cool." But he also did call Cooper Rush out on the one that was intended for Derrick Henry. He said, I'm sure that's one that Cooper Rush would like to have back. But something else that I appreciated that John Harbaugh said, which I think we all feel this way too, he talked about how the Mark Andrews interception, he said, "Oh, man," he said, "that's just the kind of season that it's been." And it has been. And he said, hopefully, moving forward, some of it can go that way for us. Because we've had some bobbled interceptions. We had some tip passes that ended up going for touchdowns for the other teams. But he said, hopefully that ends up happening to us moving forward, and the ball will bounce our way. I said, yeah, Harbaugh, we can definitely all agree with you on that, because this has been a crazy season with that. Remember that Bills game? It was a 4th and 2. Josh Allen throws it. We tipped the ball, but it goes up in the air. And then I think Keon Coleman, he caught it in the back of the end zone. Then there was the Browns game where Joe Flacco threw an interception. Marlon Humphrey tried to catch an interception, hit his hands, but he tipped it, went up in the air. Browns player catches it in the back of the end zone. Like, oh, really, man? So it's just, and I know there have been other things too, but it's just been one of those seasons thus far. And obviously the Mark Andrews, the bobble interception. But yeah, Cooper Rush, on his first drive, they were moving the ball down the field. He was making some tough throws, and he showed that he really trusted Mark Andrews, and he was giving him opportunities. He trusted DeAndre Hopkins, gave them boys a shot. But, yeah, they ended up getting stopped when they got deep in the red zone. And, yeah, I'm glad that they took a field goal, though. I was saying in the live stream, kick the field goal. Take the points, please. Please take them. I know some people saying, "Oh, go for it. I said, no. Take the points. You need it. And you got to hope that the defense can get a stop. That sounds so crazy with how the season has been. You got to hope that the defense can get a stop. Yeah, right. But yeah, man, defense obviously didn't. And the Baltimore Ravens offense, y'all know the rest of that story. But yeah, through this game, they couldn't get the ball moving anymore. The offensive line, we got another reminder of just how they're not good. With the receivers, Zay Flowers, I really thought with Zay Flowers, I thought he was going to get that touchdown, man. On that 56-yard pass, I think that's what it was. A pretty deep ball from Cooper Rush. Zay Flowers made a nice adjustment to get that catch and then get up and keep moving. But I thought he was going to Jacoby Jones that thing, because it looked just like that Jacoby Jones catch from the Super Bowl. Looked just like it, all up until the very end when he got caught. And I know what was going on. So again, he's on the field. I'm not. So I'm sure he sees stuff different than I do, watching from the TV and whatnot. But I thought that he was gonna get up because he made the guy miss, and then I thought he was gonna take that angle and just go to the end zone. But it is what it is, man. Derrick Henry did get a touchdown, so there's that. Yeah, okay, clap it up. And it's funny because on that touchdown, the NFL, the scoreboard, we had 3 points at the time. They gave us, the score was 34-3, and they changed the score from 34-3 to 34-21. NFL gave us 18 points for that touchdown. They gave us 18 points. Go back and look at it. And you can look at one of our shorts too. We got it right in there. But they gave us 18 points for that touchdown. Really, but then they took it away because they were feeling bad for us, but then they took it away. But yeah, this offense, I mean, it just continues to show how valuable Lamar Jackson is to this offense. Not only to this offense, but to this team. That we knew already. Some people try to deny it, but there's no denying it. You could try, but we know you don't believe yourself when you say, oh, Lamar Jackson not valuable to these Baltimore Ravens. We know you don't believe yourself when you say Lamar Jackson is not the most valuable player in the entire league to his football team. Not just offense, but defense as well. He really continues to show. We keep on seeing it over and over. So, yeah, man. But this offense, next week, they got the Rams. That should be a very, very interesting game for this Baltimore Ravens squad. Not really counting on much for that one. Not really expecting much in that one, but it'd be nice if the Ravens can blow our expectations out the water, blow them through the roof, and they can just surprise us all in a good way. But we'll talk about that later on this week. Special teams. Man, I was happy for LaJohntay Wester because he ain't got no action in a couple of weeks because in that Chiefs game, they wasn't punting that ball at all. So he was just chilling the whole game. But today, he was chilling for most of it till like the very end when they finally punted the ball. So he got to get a punt return. So shout out to LaJohntay Wester. He was also on offense for one play. He just went in motion, but that was it. But anyway, special teams. They just haven't been so special, especially on kickoff coverage. Teams have been, I know the rules are a bit different, so I know that plays a part in it too, but they just ain't been covering kicks very well, in my opinion. And then when it comes to kick return, Keith Mitchell was out there. He was active. Now, this is just my opinion, and it may differ from yours, and that's okay. I still love you, and I hope that it's still the same on your end too. I don't like Keith Mitchell on kick return. I do not. I think his place on this team should only be on offense. I do not like him on kick return. I don't. Not saying he can't do it, because he can, but I think he's much better suited at running back and just leave him there. But that's just my opinion. I know there's Keith Mitchell and Rasheen Ali back there at kick return. Jordan Stout, he's been getting quite a bit of action recently. He certainly has been. Now there were, of course, those 3 drives with Jordan Stout. He got to take some time off. 2 of them were field goals. One of them was a touchdown. But on one of the field goal attempts, we did miss it. It was right before halftime. Tyler Loop, I think it went wide right. I forget whether it's wide left or wide right. I'm pretty sure wide right, but he missed it. Bottom line, he missed it. And it was like it felt like such a waste of a miss too, because Tyler Loop was perfect this season. He was perfect. So it just felt like such a waste of a miss for him to miss in a game where we just got blown out. It's just like, oh, man, for him to mess up his perfect streak over this, like, what a waste. But it is what it is, part of the learning experience and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, what else on special teams? Like, yeah, that was that. But I was saying, yeah, Jordan Stout, he got to get a little break on a couple of them drives because 3 of them were interceptions. So he didn't even have to punt the ball away. The Ravens, they did it for him. So against the Texans, the Ravens, they got punched in the mouth over and over and over and over and over nonstop the entire game. From C.J. Stroud, from Davis Mills, from just this whole Texans team. The Ravens got whooped, and they, again, didn't show any fight, didn't show any heart, didn't show hardly any effort. But now, what's next for this team? Now, I do know what's next for us, and that's hearing from y'all. Let's get into some questions. First one came from a Teamkeepitclean patron, my guy Martin, and I felt bad for my guy because during our stream, he was trying to come up and speak, but his mic just was not working. But let's hear what he had to say. He said, sorry, my mic wasn't working on the stream. I don't know what the issue was. I had another app open or something. During the game, one of the Teamkeepitclean members brought joy to my day. You turned the lights off, and the Ravens started moving the ball, and then you turned them back on, and one of the comments said, turn the lights back off. It was working. I didn't even realize that. He said, it made me laugh a lot, even though the Ravens were getting their butts kicked. Yes, they certainly were. He said, that was one of the shortest pressers I've ever heard from John Harbaugh. He got on there and said literally nothing and then left. He got Kyle Vanoy up there answering questions that he and Zach Orr need to be answering. I don't even know what I could fairly expect him to say, but it bothers me when I see videos of young guys like Malachi Starks having to answer questions because no one else is. I think Malachi will be all right in the long run. Kyle Hamilton had a rough start as a rookie, but he ended up picking it up. That's very, very true. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, is Malachi Starks a bust? Wow, this guy sucks, and he's trash, he's this, he's that. I'm like, man, like, he is a rookie. And again, I know sometimes some rookies will show you from jump that they may struggle a lot, or some rookies may struggle a lot, and then they'll improve later on. I can't write no Malachi Starks off like that. Come on. Anyway, he said, but I think his growth is being stunted because he doesn't have anyone to teach him, both in John Harbaugh and Zach Orr. They clearly have no idea what they are doing in defense, so there's no one to teach these young guys, or they are being taught the wrong things. That's an interesting point because you look at the pass rush under Mike McDonald and how great it was. The secondary, just the defense as a whole, forcing turnovers, stopping people, and stopping good teams too, forcing turnovers on good teams too, not just bad ones. But then you look at it now. And it's obviously regressed by a million points, but that regression, it affects the players. It impacts the players. But anyway, he also said, I've been thinking this since the beginning of the season. The problems on defense to me have to be coaching issues because we know we have seen the talent on this team. We know how good these guys are. There's no reason that they should look this bad. And when you're watching that defense, it's like they never know what is going on. CJ Stroud had as many incompletions as touchdowns. He did. He had 4 incompletions. Yeah. I didn't even realize that. Good catch. He said, and these boys couldn't cover a cardboard cutout. They get killed in the checkdown game. Not even just checkdowns. Every type of throw. It doesn't matter. What can these guys do? They can't stop the run or the pass. I mean, C.J. Stroud was taking criticism last week for being a slow runner, and he was dusting these guys. Oh, yeah, he said that he was joking about that. It's crazy because C.J. Stroud was looking all like, he'd been looking all sad in the media and press conferences and stuff. Ravens defense got him smiling in the presses. Anyway, he also said, I'm conflicted. I want Harbaugh gone, but the only way that is happening is if the Ravens keep losing. But at the same time, I don't want to waste a perfectly good season. EDC already said it in the offseason. We are going to watch good players walk out the door, so we should maximize while we have these guys on the roster. Zay's payday is coming up. Tyler Linderbaum payday is here. Isaiah Likely. These are guys that might not unfortunately be here next year, so I understand wanting to get a better draft pick, but what about the guys we will be losing? If we can fire Harbaugh before the Rams game, maybe it will give this team the spark it desperately needs. I think Todd Monken will be a fine interim coach, and he would be motivated to have the team play well because he would essentially be trying out for the job. This gives him and the team plenty of time this season to see if he is the guy for the job. Another benefit to firing Harbaugh before the Rams game is they would have no idea what to expect, whereas with Harbaugh, they know exactly what to expect and how to prepare. That is a good point, but, I mean, that ain't going down at all. But what you talk about with us getting ready to lose a lot of guys, yeah, hey, that's the part. It's part of the NFL, man. That's part of the process. So we'll see how the rest of the season turns out. I'm kind of on the same page with you. I'm ready for the team to move on from Harbaugh. I still don't want them to have a losing season. I'm not ready to give up on the season, but I still would like them to go ahead and move on. It's not going to happen during the season. Most likely, it's a very crazy outside chance. It's like way out there that it does happen during the season, but most likely not. Next question came from another patron, my guy Kyle. He said, hey, Ingraven, how's everything going? I just have one question. What is going on with Derrick Henry? He was arguably the best running back last season, but this season it just seems like he can't get anything going except for the Bills games. Are teams game planning around him, or has he just lost a step? Or maybe it's the bad offensive line, but it's pretty much the same O-line as last year. Thank you and take care. I definitely don't think he lost a step because, yeah, like you said, you saw that the Bills game. You saw what he was doing. You don't lose no step in a couple of weeks. I just think the offensive line has just been rough, and I think teams have just really been selling out for him. I think it's also been, in the Chiefs game, it was the Ravens not using him at all. But in the Browns game, they sold out to stop Derrick Henry. In this game against the Texans, they sold out to stop Derrick Henry. Against the Lions, I don't even remember what it was in that one. But certainly in the other ones, they just been doing everything in their power to make sure that he does not go off. Next question came from my guy, Nova. I ain't heard from you in a long minute. He said, Harbaugh. Hey, Ingraven over here, and it's been a mighty long while since I sent in something. I've been keeping up on the vids, and I want to thank you again for all the hard and tedious work you do, keeping us informed and giving us a platform to speak on. Oh, no, I appreciate that, man. He said, and unlike our team, you continue to put the work in. I hope the family is doing well, and I apologize for this novel in advance. Oh, don't worry, I'm used to him. I know my guy Nova, whenever he sent in a question, Yeah, we in for a ride. Anyway, he said, whether it's the Buffalo game, aka 75 cents, because we only had 3 quarters and that missing fourth is what did us in, or the Detroit game, I call that one soft, as we were worse than soft. We were soft with 4 Fs: fluffy, fragile, and flailing Falele. Yeah, don't do all guy Falele like that. Anyway, he said, the KC game, call it an early checkout, but by halftime, that game was done between the attitude and the injuries. And now Houston, call it old yellow. We got taken to the woodshed and our division-winning dreams were put out of its misery. Something is wrong, and it's on everyone to work on improvements to salvage this season. Thing is, this all falls on John Harbaugh. He's so stuck in his ways, and Steve and EDC aren't holding him accountable. Like, we haven't had a season this bad since 2015, and outside of Steve, everything else is different, except Harbs. Usually when we are down players with injury, Harbs at least has the other players ready to at least compete, but I just don't see any grit, no heart, no urgency, just lackluster performances and guys who are just here for a check-in. I don't know how you expect to win this way, and yet our head coach is only good at throwing people under the bus to take the hit for him, but who else is there to blame? Sure, we can blame Zach Orton. Like you said, he has zero experience with his position, so when you bring in a guy like that, who is going to coach him? That's never been Harbs. He falls along the line of a CEO coach like Sirianni or Campbell. Unlike them, though, the coordination doesn't do their part, so you have to get all ready, and Harbs is failing him, and by default, the team. I don't think Todd is doing his best, but at least he's capable, as we have seen before the injuries piled on. And if Harbs had it his way, he would drop him just to save face. I think that is probably accurate. Anyway, he said, using those other coaches as examples, we can see the difference. Sirianni and Dan Campbell have new coordinators, but at least they can make it work. Mainly, they establish a culture, and the coordinators fall in line. Unfortunately, I say it's true in Baltimore, as Harbs doesn't have that tough guy mentality, just chaos and failure. If we don't see changes soon, I can expect Lamar to go anywhere near the AFC. I cannot expect Lamar to go anywhere near the AFC Championship again unless we bring in someone who can finally build a sustainable infrastructure akin to the standard in Baltimore. Brian Flores, Robert Sala, or Vance Joseph would shape this team up and also address the defense. It also shows McDonald how he would do as an inexperienced head coach, but with great coordinators, he would make it work. Long story short, I don't know how else we can expect to see a better product unless John leaves. Oh, well, there you go. I mean, he could have probably started and ended with that. But, no, we appreciate all the detail. Well, that's something right there. Anyway, he said, as bad as our injuries and our players, they just look checked out. Harbs looks just as bad with his body language. His press conferences just have jargon of stuff he thinks the fans want to hear, but it feels hollow. If he doesn't have the drive to win, then he needs to go for someone who does have those traits. I know I'm speaking to the choir talking about this, but come on. Are we so stuck on him that we are willing to waste another year of Lamar Jackson's prime as well as other key players? At what point do we actually make the changes necessary for this team to get back into contention? That's a great question. And again, I doubt anything happens during the season, but we'll see. Anyway, he said, hopefully Steve steps in and during our bye week, we see something different. And after our season ends, we hide Harbs in the front office and put some hungry coaches in place to make the changes happen so this team is back next year. That part right there, I disagree with that. Because I know a lot of people have talked about that. I think we've spoken about it before, possibly too. But don't put him in the front office. Just move on. Move on. Let him go somewhere else. He'll get a job. If he wants to continue to work and continue to coach, he will get a job for sure, and that's great. But move on completely. I don't think it would be a good idea to keep John Harbaugh. And I get it, it's a respect thing, and it's love, and he's family. I get that, and I respect it like crazy. But I think it would be in the best interest of the Baltimore Ravens if they don't do the whole front office thing with John Harbaugh. I don't think it would be a good idea because he will still have his fingers on the Baltimore Ravens. He will still have his touch on the Baltimore Ravens, and they just need a completely new identity all the way, in my opinion. Anyway, he said, but until then, I'll just keep watching this sinking ship with Harbs as a captain trying to get on the lifeboat to save himself like he always does. Thanks again, sir, and best of luck to the channel and to the future of this team. Appreciate you, Nova.